supply, to tell you the truth. But they make wine by putting all the grapes in a large vat. And the people wash their feet, and they go in and stamp on the grapes and crush the grapes under their feet until the grapes are crushed into a pulp, and they get the liquid from the pulp, and they, of course, ferment the juice, and it becomes wine. Well, Isaiah the prophet saw the coming of God as a man treading the wine press without any help. He just there crushing the wicked under his foot like those men crush grapes. And his white garment was stained red with the blood of the wicked. Now that's a terrible picture of how the field looks to the one coming. But something in the field is of great price, and he is willing to do whatever is necessary to retrieve that pearl of great price. Now, when you come to buy a field, you are called a purchaser or a buyer. When he comes to get us, he's not called a purchaser or a buyer. He's called a redeemer, because he is getting back what originally belonged to him, but he has to pay a price in order to get it. Now, in Christian theology, Jesus Christ is called the Redeemer. He pays a price. And what is the price? Suffering. To retrieve a people that are of value to him that may not have had any value to the Romans. Today, you have absolutely no value to white people. Let's agree on truth. Some of you in here have qualifications and degrees and skill, and you have some value to the corporation or entity for which you work. But even today, as they lay off, no matter how much seniority you may have, you feel a little pressure because your job is not fully secure. No matter how valuable you are, there's a white boy or girl somewhere that can replace you. And so we are not irreplaceable. And so when white folk look at the movie Menace to Society, well, if you are John the Second, there's a John before you. If you are Menace, not T-O, but Menace 2, then who is Menace 1? Thank you. Menace 1 is the white man. He is the menace to the world society. And he has taken you and me from Africa and brought us to America and made us into himself, where now we are a menace to society. Since menace one has menaced the whole earth and is the number one menace, he does not look with favor on menace two, who is now menacing his society. So he says you have no value to him. I heard on C-SPAN last night, Vice President Gore speaking to the NAACP convention in Indianapolis.
Yes, sir.
And he was talking about environmental justice. These are clever words, aren't they? That's a nice word for saying we put all nuclear, dump waste, everything where black and poor people live. Why? Who cares if you drink water that is polluted? Who cares if you breathe air that is polluted? Who cares if your children come up with varied and sundry diseases because of where you live, not knowing that you're living near a toxic waste dump? Who cares, sisters and brothers, that you eat poor food? Who cares that there's a liquor store on every corner? Who cares that the biggest employer in the black community is the drug merchant? Who cares that we are slaughtering each other and dying, our young people dying in unprecedented numbers? Who cares? They don't. Because to them, you are useless. But to God, you are a pearl of great price. Now, this may be hard to take, but if you are menace two and menace one is planning against you, what is God planning for menace one? Because menace two may be useless to menace one, but useful to God. Menace one is useless to God. So this is why all the prophets predicted the destruction of this present world. If you lived in China, you don't hear Chinese people talking about a day of doom. You go to Africa, you do not hear Africans talking about the doomsday coming. You can go in the remotest part of the jungle, you will not hear our brothers and our sisters talking about some day of doom. You go on the islands of the Pacific to the most primitive tribes, they are not talking about a day of doom. Go to Central and South America to the tribes, not those influenced by Christianity or Islam. When you see the original people or the aboriginal people, none of them are talking about a day of doom. But when you come to Europe and America,
That's right.
they are talking about a day of judgment, a day of doom. They have a song that I used to hear sung when I was in show business. I'm gonna laugh instead of cry. I'm gonna live instead of die. I'm going to fill my cup until my number's up. I'm going to live until I die.